Hey, good morning. We're going to give you inside secrets of some of the current news out there. Right now we know that it's the 70th anniversary of the invasion of Normandy when the United States landed in Europe. 1,000 men died the first day. 10,000 died in that operation. Big deal. It was World War II. My father served in World War II, and I often don't talk about my dad. I was one of 3 children. He was drafted. Everybody, every man was in the service, ready to go. It's part of the greatest generation in history. And I think that the country had a purpose and a determination that they didn't have since then. And that's one of the reasons we were successful. But there's more reasons. Our men were overseas. They were the sailors and the soldiers. Our women were at home. It's often been said the women won the war. After all, it's the women that built the 88,000 tanks for World War II, over 300,000 airplanes, thousands of ships. Wow. The medical supplies and all the ammunition, basically women at home doing this. We were all together. As a young kid in grade school, I was no part of the war effort, but I was the man of the house and took it seriously. And I know that I used to have to take my little wagon and go door to door and get tin cans for the war effort and things like that. We were all involved, My dad served in the Navy on a destroyer escort. That was one of the smallest ships in the Navy. They had ordered 1,000 of them when war started. By the end of the war, they had built over 500. About 200 men on the ship, and their job was to sink the submarines. Very, very small ship. He was a sonar operator. That was the beginning of modern things, technology, When the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, the other modern technology we have that wasn't quite working and nobody knew how to do it properly was radar. My father was a sonar operator. It's basically a radar going into the water to pick up metal and subs and so on. What's in the news about? And now we're going to get into a couple inside secrets. It's the failure of the Veterans Administration of the VA to take care of the veterans. Medical hospitals and so on are a real problem. The American public demands, and we sure pay for, having good medical care for our veterans. They certainly deserve that. We built the greatest war machine in a 4-year period in World War II, and we won the war. But at this moment, we have failed to take care of the veterans. Here's a couple interesting thoughts. You and I can right now, at this moment, go down to the local hospital or medical center, and within an hour, we'll be treated by a doctor. Some of the veterans now, we're finding out, will take them 3 months to be treated by a doctor. That's not right. We deserve better. They deserve better. And we're paying through the nose on that. Yes, the VA medical system is a disaster. It's set up all wrong. It's costing us a lot of money. And I'm not sure how we're going to be able to change it and correct it. It's just not efficient. Now let's take a look at what works in the VA system. Some people would say, Bob, in a way, you work for the VA. Well, that's not true. I'm self-employed. But banks call me Mr. VA because I do one of the great government programs for veterans, started in about 1944, before the war was over, when the veterans got out of the service without a job, without credit, without any money, no money down, and they bought houses, and they paid for them. Why did they pay for them? Because they had jobs then. Today we don't have jobs. There's so many people that don't have jobs. That's why a lot of people lost their houses. Not enough money to go around. The VA loan, let's talk a little bit about it. Now, here's the interesting things about it. This is brilliantly set up. It's a perfect setup. And let's talk just a bit about it. I do them. I'm proud to be an American. I'm proud to do VA loans. And I thank people who served in the military for serving our country. And yes, we need to take care of their medical needs. And at this moment, the VA loan program is amazing. Talk a little bit about it. First of all, the program to take care of the medicine and the medical needs is very, very expensive. Okay. The VA loan program is set up brilliantly, and it doesn't cost the government hardly any money at all. The government doesn't put up the money. They just say, if you have a veteran, we will guarantee basically 25% down payment. They get in with no money down. You, the bank, are not going to lose, and so they give the opportunity for one bank to compete against another one. Somebody says, is there mortgage insurance? No. There is a fee built in up front to a VA loan, but let's look at the numbers. Suppose you were getting a $400,000 loan with VA. The payment, including the upfront fee, today's payment, $1,923. Suppose you were doing a $400,000, $500,000 purchase with, say, 20% down, $400,000 loan with a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, the best loans out there. It's not 1923, it's 1997. Why? Because there's a risk to the lender that you don't pay. With a VA loan, you get a favorable treatment. That's just one of the beginning. And then another inside secret. Suppose you don't have perfect credit. On a VA loan, you would pay an extra half a point on the fee, very small number. Where on a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, if you don't have above a 650 score, you'd have to pay 3 points, 6 times as much. VA outshines this loan up and down, no matter how you do it. It's guaranteed by the federal government, no mortgage insurance, no reserve, no money down, no extra money in the bank, all kind of reasons. That's one reason I do a lot of VA loans. Does a VA loan fit every client? No, you have to be a military veteran. And even then, we compare it with all the better loans out there, so to speak, Fannie and Freddie, and then you figure out what's the best one to do. But I have to tell you, it was set up brilliantly. They gave the banks, if you follow our rules, you, the banks, can compete against each other. There's over 7,000 banks in the United States. I know I've been approved at one time with over 100 of them, and I generally use maybe regularly half a dozen of them that do VA loans and another dozen or so that do other type of loans. Your local bank may not be interested. I'm interested. Let's talk. And then there's other benefits we're not even going to get into. So anyway, so here we are at the end of 1945. The war ends, and the guys come out of the service and buying houses with no money down. Now, here's the other strange thing that I wish our Congress understood. Of all the types of loans out there, the Fannie Mae and the Freddie Mac with generally 10-20% down, they have a higher default rate than a VA loan with no money down. It's a wonderful product. It's a wonderful program. The other thing I think we ought to talk about a little bit, and I'm going to get a bit political. You know, in 1930, the Great Depression in the 30s started, and a Democrat by the name of Franklin Delano Roosevelt took over, and the first thing he did, the first day on the job, he had already planned to get people back to work. That's all he talked about. And immediately he was getting tens of thousands of people working all over the United States with some of the various programs. He and Congress came out with some programs called the New Deal. And, you know, sometimes in some of the programs today, maybe they're overdone. Maybe we don't need some of those anymore, but they're out there, and they have helped. When the war started, he's the president that helped win World War II. Without him, we may not have left. He's a strong leader. No fussing around about it. He focused on doing the right thing. And so anyway, I think today I'm a little bit worried about, of course, the VA program I know is bad, and some of the Obamacare medical thing I'm concerned about, because how are they going to be able to run that if they aren't able to run the VA program? But if you set up a good program like the VA program for financing, it's brilliantly set up. Now, there's a whole bunch of things that we use in our fingertips. I've been doing mortgage financing for decades and decades. And sometimes we will go back, we're having trouble getting a loan, and explain how VA might look at that and why they would maybe approve this loan. They look at it a bit differently. I will tell you that VA is going to be very sure that the house is in better shape. You're not going to buy a house that needs a lot of work on it. And they're going to be absolutely sure you can afford the house. Absolutely sure. But they're not going to worry about the silly things about some silly little minor FICO credit score that means absolutely nothing. So anyway, I just think that I salute the veterans, and I think that we as a country can do a better job. And I wish our government would pay more attention to getting people back to work. Of course, there's reasons they can't do it. And we won't get into that because that would be political, and I don't want to get too much in that. So now let's talk about maybe some of your issues. We do the unusual thing. If you're ever having trouble getting financing, that's where we step in. We're specialists in mortgage financing, and I can help people who have IRS tax liens. You know, you have an IRS tax lien. You owe the IRS money, a lot of money. I want to refinance, or I want to buy another house. I can't do it because of that tax lien. Not at all. Come and talk to us. We'll take care of that. What if I've paid my tax lien, still shows on my credit report, and it's affecting my credit? Come and talk to us. We'll get it removed. I just had a bankruptcy. Here's an interesting one. I'm doing one right now. They lost their house. They never were late on the mortgage payment, went into a short sale. I can do it the next day after they lost that house if they've never been late. Things that you don't know about, the rules you don't know about. That's what we do. We understand the rules and understand the laws. If you have collection issues and collection problems, well, first of all, I will tell you as a general statement, in getting a loan for you, I hardly ever have to pay off a tax lien or a collection account. We show you how to get around it, what to do, how to resolve them. We help you with that. If that's your problem, talk to us. If you've had a bankruptcy or a foreclosure, short sale, no matter what it is in the past, come and talk to us. We figure out ways of getting things done for you. And remember, can you believe it? You and I can leave right now and go to a medical facility and get treated. And the soldier waits months and months for sometimes a very serious thing. Can't do it. Can't do it. That doesn't make sense. We have to change that.